Despite work being eventful this morning, the rest of the day passed quietly. Even Tomoya kept her distance from me. I wonder if I scared her off when I casually mentioned reporting her to the police. Not that I actually would report her. That would lead to the police getting mixed up in my life, and I can't really have that, considering my moonlighting occupation. Especially now that I know I have a connection to Tsurumaki. I brush my hair in front of the mirror in my bedroom. I remove my makeup and reveal the ever-so-faint bruise on my cheek, the fading token of my fight with Tomoya. Since tonight is rather cold, I decide to snuggle up under the covers in bed with my laptop. I crawl into bed and pull the plush blankets up over myself. The warmth and softness is immediately comforting, and I have to fight the urge not to fall asleep here and now. To keep myself awake, I check the requests on my website. I'm pleasantly surprised to find there are 2 new requests. 2 in one day. My heart begins to race, and I quickly open the messages. Ooh, is this Emmy? And, the other Kurosawa? It wasn't her name Kurosawa? Isn't our name Kurosawa? I'm confused. The first message reads, request details. Today, 11:14 AM. Well, maybe not then. Victim's phone. Image attachment not found. No image attachment. What? I thought I configured the website to reject requests unless an image is attached. This is really irritating. I got my hopes up for nothing. It takes me a second to remember that there's another request waiting. My optimism renewed, I hurriedly click into the unread message. Today. Oh, this could be it, I guess. Victim's phone. Downloading image attachment. Yes. This request has been submitted correctly. The image is loading before my eyes. Okay, it's not them. The new victim is male, early 20s. He's fit and athletic looking. His clothing is casual, so it's impossible to infer what kind of work he does. The photo of him is pretty simple. I don't know if he uses it for his noise profile or if it's an ID photo of some sort. Either way, he looks like a happy person. I'm not so naive to pretend I can't guess at the reasons this guy is wanted dead. Perhaps an ex submitted his details after a bad breakup, or a jealous sibling wants him out of the picture. People's motivations are purely selfish. Requesting the death of somebody is guaranteed to be motivated by self-interest. So why did somebody want Tsurumaki dead? She was so plain-looking, so uninteresting. She didn't look like she was capable of even thinking about wronging somebody. Did somebody want revenge on her, or did someone simply find her so dull that the thought of removing her from the planet seemed appealing? I interrupt my own thoughts and return to the task at hand. Dwelling on a past victim won't do me any good if I want to continue my streak of success. This new guy is attractive. It's almost a shame to have to chop him up. Well, we all get what's coming to us. No sense in trying to avoid scarring a pretty face. Beauty is superficial anyway. I know that as well as anyone. No one deserves to be spared just because they're good looking. Beautiful people should suffer as much as anyone else. Beautiful people do suffer as much as anyone else. Take Aoi, for example. She's gorgeous, absolutely stunning, and definitely my type. But she suffers endlessly at the hands of cruel stalkers and patrons. Everyone suffers, beautiful or not. We all cop the crap we're dealt. So why fuss over a beautiful corpse? This guy, or Aoi, or even Tomoya on a good day, beautiful people die the same way as the average person. The guy on my computer screen probably doesn't really deserve to die. I'm sure there's some petty reason his death has been requested. But I take all requests seriously. I won't turn a single one down. Corpse Girl's convictions will pave the way to her fame. With a smirk and a lick of my lips, I get to work. I've got a nice clear photo here, so I can go all out on the request. I hit up the DD, the database of the deceased, and spend some time selecting a suitable base image. I hesitate between choosing an image of a corpse with a knife in its throat, or a body soaking in a bloody bathtub with its wrists slit. Either image would do just fine, but I really want something special for this latest victim. After all, I have to top my last success, right? Another 5 or 10 minutes pass until I gasp at coming across the perfect photo. Thanks to my clever use of tags and filters on the DD, this image matches my victim's description perfectly. 20 to 30 years old, athletic build, male. The corpse's legs are severed below the knees. Bloody stumps leak their vital fluids from on high. The body is hanging from a set of power lines on some suburban street. It's perfect. Beautiful, even. It'll help me create a beautiful death for a beautiful person. I kind of have to question the story behind this photo. I wonder if the police ever investigated and discovered what happened to this sucker. Well, regardless, this will serve my purpose. I download the highest resolution copy available and save it to my hard drive. My fingers trace along the computer's trackpad with practiced movements, clicking, tapping, dragging at random intervals. The night carries on. This is wild. She's doing this with the trackpad. That's crazy. My walk through the train station this morning is confident, cocky, self-assured. When I board the train, I even managed to take a seat for the first time in a while. I withdraw a worn book from my handbag and flip open the cover. There's a name scrawled in blue ballpoint pen on the first page, but it has become faded and illegible over time. I don't quite remember where I picked up this book. Maybe I discovered it at a second-hand bookshop. Who knows? 2 things she doesn't remember. How she started Corpse Girl. And this. I own so many obscure tomes that I can't be expected to recall purchasing every single one. Its aged cover and weathered spine both bear the same title. Force Photographiae, a comprehensive history of photo manipulation. The book is written in English, and it's a slog to work through with my limited knowledge of that language, but I like to skim through it primarily for the photographs contained within. The examples of early image doctoring from centuries ago fascinates me. The book even features techniques and studies as recent as 1993, when it was first published. It's true that a lot of techniques discussed within are no longer relevant in today's digital age. However, there's a hearty section dedicated to the art of manipulating corpse photos, something that I am indeed very, very interested in. The most intriguing aspect of this section's content is that the featured artists perform the opposite kind of work that I do. Instead of manipulating images of the living to make them appear dead, the artists in the book edit images of the dead in order to make them look alive once more. The bygone eras when photographs of people were taken few and far between. A sect of artists dedicated themselves to honouring the memories of the deceased. They did this by making the photos taken upon death look beautiful and full of life. These photos were gifted to family members and loved ones. The tradition makes sense. Imagine if you lost someone dear to you and you had no photographs of them. Wouldn't it be wonderful to receive one last memento, a beautiful image of the way you remember them? Instead of using makeup to beautify a corpse, these artists applied paintbrush and pen directly to a photograph to seemingly bring the deceased back to life. The impressive aspect of this process is the way they illustrated the corpse's eyes to look full of life. Even though it's a far cry from the work I do, I can't help but feel some sort of kinship with the artists discussed in this book. Surely we are cut from the same cloth. No, you're crazy, girl. Browsing through the images in this book inspires me to work hard at my own photo editing. Many of the pictures are in black and white, but to me that only drives home how impressive these old techniques were. I finish flipping through a chapter and close the book. I hold the tattered tome close to my chest and breathe a sigh of satisfaction.
The next station is Shinjuku. The doors on the right.
We've read this before. I quickly stuff the book into my handbag and get ready to disembark the train. When I'm certain nobody is looking, I carefully open the lid of a large dumpster in front of me. The stench of rotten food and who knows what else assaults my senses, and I reflexively gag and splutter. The staff at the convenience store really need to seal their trash bags in plastic bags before tossing it in here.
Ugh, this is disgusting. I have to stop doing this.
The raised open lid locks into place at 45-degree angle, allowing my now free hands to retrieve a small black object from my handbag. It's a flip phone, a cheap plastic thing with a shiny charcoal finish. I open it up and tap on the retro tactile keys, confirming that I have completely deleted all sent messages and photos. Nodding to myself, satisfied that I've covered my tracks, I eject the battery from the back of the casing and toss it in the dumpster. I then snap the phone in half along the hinge, separating the screen from the keypad. The screen crunches into pieces with a gratifying underneath my shoes. I retrieve the smashed parts from the asphalt, careful not to prick my finger on the sharp glass. With hardly a glance, I unceremoniously launch the broken parts of the phone into the dumpster. I thought you also snapped the SIM card. Is that just lumped in there with the cell phone? I clap my hands together to dust them off, then shut the dumpster lid and hurry away. I sidle between the brick wall of the convenience store and a narrow metal railing intended to keep people like me away from the dumpsters. Now in front of the convenience store, I finally feel I can breathe deeply without fear of inhaling the toxic contents of the dumpster. I let my lungs take their fill before nonchalantly crossing the street. That takes care of my latest burner phone. Before leaving the office building, I cracked the SIM card in half and disposed of it in the combustible trash. Fair enough. Now, with the phone itself destroyed and discarded at a different location, my mind is at ease. It's been slightly less than 24 hours since I messaged my latest victim, that athletic guy that I may have briefly fantasized about during my restless slumber. My general rule of thumb is to keep a burner phone for exactly 24 hours after sending a photo. However, I made an exception today. I wanted to discard the phone early, clear my anxiety, and get a full night's rest tonight. Besides, it's not like anyone ever replies to the messages I send. I'd love it if they did, but it is what it is. So really, there's no point in holding on to the evidence of my wrongdoing for longer than necessary. If memory serves, I wrote tomorrow's date on the latest victim's timestamp, May 30th, 10:31 AM. The victim may decide to kill himself today, of course. He could end up just like Akane Tsurumaki. But if he's anything like her, he'll hold out until just a few hours before the designated time. He'll let panic and fear boil and build inside him until he just can't take it anymore. Or someone else will come along and end it all for him. I can't be sure. I still don't know what happened to Ruri Hatano. Did she kill herself, or did someone else snuff out her life? Either way, I'll start researching obituaries tomorrow. I'm confident that this will be another successful request. If it is, I'll truly be on a winning streak. With butterflies in my stomach, I cross the road. On my route home, I usually like to trek through the small park close to my apartment, provided the weather is decent. I avoid the park in the mornings as a lot of people walk their dogs and I can't risk my allergies flaring up before I reach the office. In the evening, the park is much emptier. I suppose I finish work a bit earlier than most people, so while everyone else is busy, I can enjoy the fresh air and scenery. I make my way along the neat, broad dirt path that connects one side of the park to another. Wooden benches line the path at regular intervals, and at this time of the evening it's common to see a homeless person or two using a bench as a resting place. This city has more homeless people than the general population would care to admit. I try not to think of it as I walk by every day. I already know that many people have it worse off than I do, but there's not exactly anything I can do to help, right? Should I be giving these people money that I can't afford to spare? Wouldn't I just end up homeless as well? I'm not exactly broke, but I live month to month on my salary. It's expensive to live on the outskirts of Akihabara, and commuting to Shinjuku every day isn't exactly cheap either. Then you add in electricity bills, phone, food. I mean, I don't eat unless I have to, but I'd starve if I didn't buy a meal every other day. And don't even get me started on the cost of the coffee I drink. If I'm lucky, I can score a can for 100 yen, but more often than not, I'm paying up to 150 for a single can. Even if I were to buy canned coffee in bulk from one of those huge variety stores like Don Quixote, I'd still only save a handful of loose change, and I wouldn't have access to the familiar selection I get at the convenience store. I'm just thankful that I don't go out for drinks after work like most of my colleagues. If I had to buy a few rounds of beer every week, my bank account would definitely dry up. By avoiding that kind of group outing, not only do I save money, but I'm also not forced to spend more time around people. It's a win-win situation. Realizing I'm trudging along the path at a snail's pace, I tell myself to speed up my gait. Toward the exit of the park, the silhouettes of two people on a bench come into view. The sound of laughter carries on the wind, and I can't help but feel like I've heard the voices before. As I draw closer, a sinking sensation clutches at my stomach. Shall we guess that it's Tomoe and Shinya? I immediately get the urge to turn around, but I'm so close to home.
Aha! It's Noriko! Fancy seeing her here.
Noriko's here.
Tomoe and Shinya. Tomoe glares and flips her long hair beneath her ear with a shit-eating grin on her face. Shinya looks out of place outside of the office, his face filtered by an especially uncomfortable expression. I start to wonder why these two are here, but then I recall that Tomoe did mention that they were going out on a date on Friday night. I suppose it's just my bad luck that I would run into them on the way home. Though what are they doing here in Akihabara? I have to assume that Tomoe came here on purpose just to spite me.
On your way home?
Uh-huh. How's your, date?
We're having a blast. Right, Chen?
Yes, of course. A great time.
I wonder if Tomoe has been dragging Shinya along against his will.
Okay, well, I'll leave you to it.
Hey, we're gonna grab some chicken. Why don't you come with us?
No thanks.
I can't think of any worse way to spend an evening than eating with Tomoe.
Please come with us, Noriko.
Shinya has a dejected look on his face. It's pitiful, but he brought this date on himself. Why should I have to bail him out?
Sorry, I've got things to do tonight.
Are you sure you're not just avoiding eating? Afraid to gain a bit of fat?
I honestly don't know what to say to that.
Say, Shin, you ever seen Noriko eat anything?
Well, now that you mention it, she never seems to eat at the office.
I eat at home, if that's okay with you.
It's not completely a lie. Sometimes I eat at home, sometimes I don't eat at all.
Come on, come get some chicken with us. You can throw it back up or whatever afterwards if it makes you feel better.
She's starting to get on my nerves. I swear she tries to identify my flaws and insecurities just so she can rub them in my face.
Tomoe, you're not being very nice to Noriko. Aren't you two supposed to be friends?
We're besties. Besties talk shit to each other, right, Noriko?
Right.
Huh. Fascinating.
Anyway, I'm going now. See you on Monday.
Okay. See you then.
Buzzkill. She's such a drag.
I let Tomoe's words hang in the air as I walked past her. I'm pretty annoyed that she dragged Shinya all the way here just to taunt me. Is this her idea of a good date? Does she care about Shinya at all, or is the whole thing just to annoy me? Tomoe dating Shinya doesn't even get under my skin. I don't have feelings for him at all. What does get on my nerves is simply the fact that Tomoe is trying so hard to get on my nerves. Of course, it wouldn't be fair if I could carry on my way home without one final interruption. Tomoe calls out to me again.
Your friend Aoi is gonna start work with us on Monday, yeah? Oh, fun. I can't wait to meet a friend of Noriko's.
I grimace. I suppose Shinya told her about that. I turn back to face them both.
Don't even think about messing with Aoi. That girl has dealt with enough crap at her last job.
Oh, has she? Maybe big, strong Noriko can protect her now.
I'd do anything for her. She's my best friend. If you had any friends of your own, you'd understand what that feels like.
Well, I got plenty of friends. And only some of them are sluts like you.
Yeah. I'm going.
I finally managed to disengage from the conversation, even with Tomoe's mocking laugh piercing the air. I exit the park, cross the road, and walk down the block leading to my apartment. Tomoe. I have to wonder if that girl exists solely to irritate me. I have to tell myself she's not worth my time. I can't let her taunts get to me. Grin and bear it, as they say. That's what stoic, unflinching Noriko would do. Running a hand through my hair, I smile and approach my apartment building. What if her sister did the corpse girl stuff and then she died when Emmy... This is just me spitballing, by the way. It's completely bullshitting right now. But when Emmy sent the picture, but there is some power behind the website, and so she did end up dying. But before she did, she submitted Emmy's name so that they could both die. Oh, that would... I'm so good at writing. I'm just kidding. I'm so just kidding. I spent all morning trying to unsuccessfully to calm my nerves. I'm anxious about finding out whether my latest victim has perished. It's afternoon now, so the time written on his photo has passed. If my work was successful, I should know soon enough. I've already set up an obituary news alert on my phone to keep me informed. Instead of sitting at home all day and waiting for my phone to go off, I decided to visit an old favourite hangout. Public libraries don't get the credit they deserve in this age. True. They're quiet, calm, soothing. I can sit here for hours for free and just get lost in different worlds. Plus, they always carry works by my favourite authors. Sometimes the librarians are even kind enough to recommend titles that might fit my tastes. I don't feel judged here. Nobody looks at me and mocks my clothing or my makeup. Nobody looks at me and asks if I've had enough to eat lately. Nobody makes fun of me, that lonely girl in the corner reading Lovecraft and calmly stroking her hair. Whatever. Every so often I put my book aside and check my phone out of habit. Still no alerts. Have I miscalculated something? Did my latest photo not look convincing or damning enough to inspire suicide or murder? I find myself growing increasingly anxious and impatient.
Huh? You a Lovecraft nerd?
I blink twice and look up at the strange man standing over me.
Huh?
Sauce. Didn't mean to interrupt.
Who says sauce in real life?
Notice you're reading Lovecraft.
Who said that?
Huh. In Japanese, too. Didn't know this book had been translated.
Yeah. My English isn't great.
This
I
is
read the
insane.
translated versions.
This is literally insane. This as far as I can tell, at least on the Steam page, this has no Japanese like text or dub. So her saying this in English is just blowing my mind right now.
That's mad. Do they translate esoteric names? Can't imagine Cthulhu being easy to write in kanji.
Well, it's written in katakana, so...
Course. Kojiro.
The man extends his hand and I can't tell if he wants me to shake it or pass him my book.
What?
I'm Kojiro. You?
Kojiro.
Noriko. Kurosawa.
Nice. Just Kojiro for me. No last name.
Koji.
Call me Koji.
You don't have a last name?
Used to. Lost it. Fire, you know. I'm just Kojiro now.
This guy's like that quirky weird. I hate it. I hate it. This guy's weird. His clothes smell like they've been stashed in the back of a closet for a decade or two. His face is unshaven and his eyes are scarily clear and focused, despite being masked by a pair of thick glasses.
Didn't mean to keep you. Saws again.
Who says saws?
I'm looking for Nobel Sinclair.
I hate him so much.
You around here?
I mean, I don't know. Who?
Writer guy. Did that book about befriending the dead? The librarian told me to check these shelves.
Sorry, I don't really know.
No worries. I'll find him. You know, you look like the type who'd enjoy his books. Not to judge you by your cover. Need a strong stomach, though. Messed up shit.
As much as I hate to admit it, this stranger has captured my interest.
How messed up are we talking?
Well, his first book describes dressing up corpses, taking them to dinner. Goal is to not get caught out. Bad, right? Like something out of that American movie. Weekend with Bernard? Or something like that.
Weekend at Bernie's? Weekend at Bernie's, right?
Second book goes nuts. Main character fills the school classroom with bodies, all dressed up as students. Runs lectures and records them, puts them online.
That's so crazy, bro. Like, that's just the craziest thing I've ever heard.
Best part? No one can figure out if these books are fiction. Internet says Nobel Sinclair actually did these things. Says he's doing time now, writing these books as a confession.
Interesting.
Right? It's deranged. Makes for a good bedtime reading.
Huh.
Now, please go away from me.
You want noise? Well, of course you are.
Yeah. You?
Yeah, at Koji. Add me if you like. We can talk shop.
Talk shop about what? Isn't talk shop to do with, like, business?
I'm gonna find Nobel. Wish me luck.
And without so much as a glance back at me, the man walks away. I try to return to my reading, but that whole conversation just replays back in my head. What a bizarre encounter. Maybe I'll just head home for today. Being here has helped me calm down, but I'm still eagerly anticipating the fate of my victim. Besides, I have to admit that I'm growing a little bit hungry. Maybe onigiri, a rice ball from the convenience store, will tide me over until tomorrow. I gather my things and stand up, letting out a little hoo as I stretch my muscles. As I head toward the sliding doors to leave the library, a little alert sounds from my phone. My phone is in my hands in less than a second, the screen unlocked and the obituary page loading before my eyes. Article posted online today, 2:39 p.m. Keywords found: Mr. Accident, numerical data range 20 to 30. Image data found, yes. Saturday, May 30th, Mr. Eiichi Hanada, 22, of Tokyo Prefecture, was pronounced dead this afternoon at a traffic intersection, 12:02 p.m. Coroner's office reports that Mr. Hanada was involved in a traffic accident. No other casualties have been reported. Mr. Hanada is survived by his fiancée, who wishes to remain anonymous. A funeral service has not yet been arranged. View image attachment? I quickly load the image attachment and can't believe my eyes. The photo is the exact same one that was sent to me through Corpse Girl's website. There can be absolutely no doubt that this is my latest victim. I've done it again. My breathing starts to quicken, my cheeks begin to grow hot. I know from experience that if I don't get somewhere private and quickly, I may very well make a fool of myself in public. I quickly glance around the library for a sign pointing to a restroom. As soon as my eyes settle on it, I dash towards it, swerving between bookshelves and through narrow aisles. There's one door for a unisex bathroom, an unremarkable beige portal. The muscles in my thighs are tightening and I squirm as I reach for the door. My hand grasps the cool metal handle and presses down, only to be met with immovable resistance. It's locked. There's a sign on the door, a notice that I completely ignored in my haste. Closed for cleaning.
Shit!
This is wild, like, what has to have, like, got twisted around in your brain that, like, you can, like, get to a certain point of arousal that you just, like, explode, essentially. That's what I feel like happened. I don't want to be like, oh, she peed herself, because that would smell. So if it was the other thing, though, that can easily be hidden with clothes. Yeah. I curse despite my best efforts to keep a low profile. My head turns frantically, looking for somewhere, anywhere that I can sit down and remain out of sight while my body reacts erratically to my latest success.
Yo, you busted?
This guy again.
I need to use the restroom.
I hope he can't tell that the expression on my face is not one of desperation to use the facilities. To my surprise, Kojiro strides up to the restroom door and begins to slam his fists against it.
Hey, cleaning time is over. Get out of there.
I hear a panicked yelp from within. Kojiro's commanding voice was more than a little intimidating. Within seconds, a terrified old woman emerges. She wheels her cleaning trolley around us, bows quickly, and disappears from
All
sight.
yours. Bad to hold it.
Thanks.
I don't like this guy. I dash past Kojiro, unable to believe what is happening here. I slam the door behind me and slip into a cubicle. As soon as I sit atop the toilet's closed lid, my legs begin to shake uncontrollably and I have to lean backward to steady myself. Eiichi Hanada is dead. Killed in a traffic accident. That could mean anything, but I'm willing to bet that I caused his death. After seeing the photo of his dismembered corpse, he might have purposefully crashed his car, or perhaps someone else rammed his vehicle, intent on murdering him on behalf of Corpse Girl. I still don't know how my power works. I don't know why these victims end up dead. But the cause of death ultimately doesn't matter. What matters is that Corpse Girl is victorious once more. I find myself panting, squirming, struggling to restrain myself. My vision fogs, my knuckles clench, and with barely a fanfare, I begin to cool down all of a sudden. Just like that, the overwhelming urge to explode simply flutters away. Huh? My breathing regulates, my legs solidify and rest firmly on the ground. This experience wasn't nearly as staggering as last time. Maybe because I was so confident that this victim would die, my body already prepared itself for it? Have I already become desensitized to my ability to wield death itself? I won't pretend that I'm not disappointed. That exhilarating feeling I experienced last time, the complete and utter loss of control, it was addicting. I craved experiencing it again. Still, I need to remind myself of the most important thing. I fulfilled the request issued to Corpse Girl. That's 2 new victories in a row, 2 victories in a single week. As long as requests keep coming in, I can keep achieving my goals. I can do this. Full of confidence and feeling steady once more, I exit the cubicle and leave the bathroom. That strange man, Kojiro, is waiting for me at the end of an aisle.
Good?
Dude, creepy.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for... you know... I really needed the bathroom.
Course. Been there.
Don't
Gotta
wanna
go
know.
when you gotta go. Look what I found.
Kojiro holds up a book with a plain black cover.
Nobel Sinclair's latest. Dazed by the Dead. It's a ripper.
Oh, what's that one about?
Falling in love with the dead. Read it already last year. Time for another go. Oh, here.
Kojiro hands another book to me, this one with a brown cover. An illustration on the front depicts a field of flowers.
What's this?
Sinclair's first ever published work. Strange Flower. Title's nonsense. This is the one where he puts corpses in suits, treats them to meals at fancy restaurants. Loaned it out under my name. You take it. Return it before the due date. Can't risk getting fined.
This isn't like a real thing, is it? Let me just look. Nope.
Oh, well, thank you. I'll be sure to read it.
Sure. Send me your thoughts and noise. Right.
Really
Good
forcing
seeing
this
you.
interaction, huh, bud? A brief wave of his hand and he disappears behind the closest shelves. I can't really get over how peculiar he is, but he certainly is making an effort to be friendly. I turn the heavy book over in my hands and look inside the front cover for the publication date. 2009. It's actually not that old. Definitely not as old as the fiction I normally consume. Yeah, Poe and Lovecraft. I shrug and hoist the bulky tome underneath my arm, then make for the library's exit. I feel uncommonly hungry on my way home, so much so that I decide to stop by a restaurant and get some dinner. I wonder if killing stirs my appetite. I often pass this establishment when I exit the train station in Akihabara. It's an old venue that serves traditional Japanese food as well as popular Western dishes. To say that I've always been curious about eating here would be accurate. I've been working hard lately, achieving my goals. I can afford to treat myself to a cooked meal, right? Why do I find it so hard to justify that? I'm even going to eat at a booth tonight, another rarity for me. A waitress guides me to an empty booth and I slide in before looking at the menu. The house specialty, according to the menu in my hands, is grilled eel. Not exactly my favourite. In fact, seafood of any variety doesn't sit well in my stomach. I decide to pass on the specials and order something I know I can digest. Omu rice sounds good. I used to eat it a lot as a kid. Omelette, rice and ketchup. What's not to like? Plus, it's only 700 yen before tax. The waitress returns to take my order, and I confidently point out what I'd like. She offers me a smile and hurries off to the next table. Perhaps my recent victory streak has given my courage a boost, because I hardly feel awkward or anxious sitting here surrounded by people eating and drinking on all sides. I'm somewhat calm and at ease amidst the hustle and bustle of the restaurant. I almost feel like it might be nice to have some company. A friend, perhaps Aoi or even Shinya, might be nice to talk to and pass time with. Oh well, in a way I do have some company. I retrieve a book from my handbag, the very same book Kojiro lent me, and I open it up to the first chapter. Strange Flower, an odd, apparently meaningless title. Still, it comes highly recommended by an eccentric stranger, so it must be good. My meal arrives when I'm a few pages into the book. I thank the waitress and look at the omurice before me. It smells good. It's presented beautifully. I can probably eat at least a quarter of this portion without feeling ill. I pick up a spoon and slice through the middle of the omurice, causing a puff of steam to billow up. Throwing caution to the wind, I scoop up a good amount and bring it to my mouth. It's delicious, there's no other word to describe it. The convenience store meals I normally eat can't even compare to something like this. The egg is soft, the rice is fluffy, and there's just enough ketchup along the top. I take a second mouthful, then a third. I can't help but giggle a little at the thought of myself sitting here eating like a normal person. All the people around me probably think I'm a normal person too. Just a girl sitting at a restaurant eating her dinner. Another quiet giggle escapes my lips, and I gently dab my mouth with a napkin. I set my spoon to the side and return to the book in front of me. The author of this work certainly is interesting. Noel Sinclair. According to the bio inside the front cover, he moved to Japan from overseas at a young age. The book was written originally in Japanese. It's not a translation, but even so, the writing style is quite unusual. I can't quite put my finger on what is so strange about it. Maybe it's the lack of complex kanji used throughout. Everything is written rather simply in hiragana, almost like the intended audience is elementary school kids. But that can't be right. The themes contained within are truly disturbing. Maybe the author just doesn't have the greatest comprehension of writing in Japanese. It's true that a lot of adults have trouble with complex kanji. Professional authors, though, not so much. Anyway, it's not like it matters too much. The book is interesting enough to keep me turning the pages. I must be completely absorbed in reading, because before I know it, a waitress is politely letting me know that the restaurant is closing soon. I nod and look at the plate of omurice in front of me. The meal has gone cold, and I only ate 3 bites. Still, I'm feeling full now, and I really enjoyed what I did eat. I don't even feel any added weight on my hips as I get to my feet. That's definitely a positive thing. Yeah, because weight doesn't instantly just add to your body. Like, you don't just suddenly get flabby after eating a meal. I stretch my arms and legs, put my book in my bag, and offer the waitress some money along with the bill. It's taking forever to fucking load. This is a visual novel. It shouldn't take this long. Okay, there we go. I will see you in the next one, because I'm going to do one more recording tonight.